Smartest Animal Communicators, Top 10. Language is not just human. Out there in the wild, entire nations exist. Bees with dances, whales with songs, elephants with deep rumbling calls we cannot hear. What if I told you that animals rank in complexity, just like our own languages do? Today, we are not simply watching animals, we are decoding them. Each species has invented its own way of saying, danger is near, food is over there, or even, this is who I am. Some codes are simple, others are so layered that they rival the complexity of human dialects. From silent signals to orchestras beneath the ocean, this is the hidden spectrum of communication in the animal kingdom. In this video, we'll rank the top 10 animal languages from the simplest signals to the most sophisticated systems ever discovered. Along the way, you'll see how survival, cooperation, and intelligence all depend on one thing: the power to communicate. If you love uncovering the mysteries of the wild, hit subscribe to Animal Ranking Hub. Every week, we bring you the secret lives, rankings, and hidden talents of the creatures that share our planet. Now, let's begin decoding the voices of the wild. Top 10. The honeybee's dance, a silent code. In the world of honeybees, words don't exist. Instead, there is movement. A single worker bee returns to the hive, buzzing with urgency, and begins to dance. The others gather, watching. With nothing but a waggle of her body, she conveys everything they need to know: direction, distance, and the quality of food waiting beyond the hive. Scientists call it the waggle dance, and it is astonishing in its efficiency. A bee waggles her abdomen in a figure-8 pattern. The angle of the dance shows the direction relative to the sun. The length of the waggle indicates distance. Even the vigor of her moves tells the colony how rich the food source is. In under a minute, an entire workforce is mobilized. No sound, no words, only coded movement. To us, this might look like instinct, but it is communication with rules, structure, and purpose, the three pillars of any language. The honeybee has compressed survival into choreography. It doesn't debate, it doesn't persuade, it delivers clear data fast. This is the first rung on our ladder of animal languages. Simple, yes, but elegant. A reminder that language does not need grammar to change behavior. The honeybee teaches us that information is power, and the faster you share it, the stronger your community becomes. Top 9. Meerkats, alarms with syntax. In the deserts of southern Africa, meerkats stand tall on their hind legs, scanning the horizon. At first glance, their calls sound like random chirps, but listen closely, and a pattern emerges. Each sound carries meaning, and together, they form a primitive syntax. Meerkats produce distinct alarm calls depending on the type of threat: a hawk circling above, a jackal approaching on the ground, or even a snake slithering nearby. The pitch, rhythm, and urgency of the call tell the group not only what the predator is, but also how serious the danger is. High urgency means immediate escape. Lower urgency might mean stay alert but keep foraging. This is not just noise, it is contextual communication, the beginnings of a rule system that decides how information is structured and understood. Scientists have compared it to a toddler's first sentences: limited vocabulary but functional grammar. The meerkat, in its sandy world, has built a survival codebook, and it works. A single lookout can save dozens of others, ensuring the colony thrives in a land full of predators. Their language isn't decorative. It isn't about bonding or beauty. It is raw survival. Ranking just above the honeybee, meerkats show us how language evolves when life depends on precision. From dance to syntax, we're already moving closer to the complexity we see in our own speech. Top 8. Prairie dogs, the storytellers of the grasslands. Across the prairies of North America, a chorus rises from underground towns. It sounds like high-pitched yips and chirps, but these aren't random noises. Prairie dogs are telling stories. When a predator appears, a coyote, a hawk, even a human, prairie dogs don't just shout danger, they provide descriptions. Studies show their calls encode details: the size, shape, speed, and even the color of the intruder. A prairie dog call can differentiate between a tall human in a blue shirt and a shorter one in yellow. It is, in effect, a sentence. The structure is astonishing. A series of syllables repeated in patterns create phrases that other prairie dogs understand instantly. This allows the colony to decide how to respond: scatter, dive, or stand guard. It's the equivalent of a neighborhood watch. running on a spoken code far richer than a simple alarm. What makes prairie dogs remarkable is that their system edges toward descriptive language. It moves beyond who to include what kind and how dangerous. In the vast grasslands, this complexity is survival. The better they describe the threat, the better they prepare as a community. Placed above meerkats, prairie dogs prove that animals are capable of a proto-grammar, one step closer to storytelling. Theirs is not poetry, but it is communication layered with detail, a preview of what human language would one day become. Top 7. Crows, masters of deception and codes. In the sky above farms and forests, crows gather in groups that humans often underestimate. To us, their calls might sound repetitive, but hidden inside those sounds is a system of codes and disguises. Crows use specific calls to alert their group to danger, much like meerkats and prairie dogs. But they go further. They can mimic the voices of other species, hawks, owls, even human noises, to confuse predators or competitors. This isn't instinct, it's strategy. By imitating, they redirect attention, buy time, and escape. Beyond mimicry, research shows crows also have dialects. Groups in different regions develop slightly different calls, learned and passed down across generations. More fascinating still, crows remember human faces. They can call out warnings about a particular person who once threatened them, and other crows, who have never met that person, will learn to avoid them. This is social communication, a network of shared knowledge. What sets crows apart in our ranking is their ability to combine signals with intent. A prairie dog describes, a crow manipulates. It understands not just how to transmit information, but how to use language as a tool, even a weapon. Placed above prairie dogs, crows show that language is not always about clarity. It can also be about deception. And in deception, we glimpse something very human. The ability to play with meaning, to twist sound into survival. Top 6. Elephants, voices beneath the earth. On the savannas of Africa and the forests of Asia, elephants move in silence, or so it seems. What our ears miss, their world is built upon. Elephants communicate with infrasound, rumbling calls pitched so low that they travel for miles, sometimes over 10 kilometers. To another elephant, these vibrations are clear. They can signal identity, emotional state, even intention. I am ready to mate, danger approaches, or follow me. Mothers can call their calves from far away. Entire herds can coordinate movements without ever being seen together. It is a communication web stretched across the landscape, carried through the air and even the ground. What makes elephant language remarkable is its scale and subtlety. Unlike the direct efficiency of bees or meerkats, elephants rely on nuance, variations in frequency, duration, and rhythm. Researchers have found distinct rumbles for greetings, for mourning the dead, and for long-distance coordination. It is not only functional but emotional, binding the herd together through shared sound. This places elephants higher on our ranking. They don't just transmit survival codes, they share relationships. Their language is built to maintain a social structure as complex as any in the wild. The lesson from elephants is simple. Communication is not about volume. It is about reach, connection, and resonance. Sometimes the most powerful voices are the ones we can't hear at all. Top 5. Humpback whales, the ocean singers. Beneath the surface of the ocean, sound carries farther than light. For humpback whales, this is their stage. Males produce long, haunting songs that can last for hours, echoing across hundreds of kilometers. To us, they sound like music. To them, it is language. Each song is built in themes and phrases, repeated with variations. Over time, the entire population can adopt a new version, as if updating a shared playlist. Researchers discovered that songs evolve season by season, spreading from one ocean to another in waves of cultural transmission. No other non-human species demonstrates such large-scale, synchronized change in communication. But what do these songs mean? Some are courtship displays, drawing females or competing with rival males. Others appear to serve as social signals, uniting pods across vast distances. The structure is complex, rhythms, harmonics, and sequences that resemble human music far more than simple calls. What places humpback whales above elephants in our ranking is the layer of artistry. It is not just information, it is performance. Their communication contains rhythm and pattern, a kind of proto-culture passed between generations. It shows that language can evolve not just for survival, but for beauty and connection. The humpback teaches us that language, at its peak, is not about efficiency. It is about expression. Somewhere in the deep blue, a whale sings, and another answers. In their songs, we glimpse the roots of our own music and poetry. Top 4. African gray parrots, the inventors of words. In living rooms and research labs around the world, the African gray parrot has stunned humans with a gift no other bird shows at this level: the power to learn, understand, and even create words. Unlike crows, which mimic for survival, African grays mimic with purpose. Famous studies, like those with the parrot Alex, revealed a bird capable of labeling objects, colors, numbers, and even concepts like same and different. When Alex said, "Want grape?" it wasn't repetition. It was a genuine request, built from vocabulary he understood. What makes this extraordinary is not just memory, it's contextual use. These parrots can adapt words to new situations, stringing sounds together in ways that hint at creativity. In the wild, they use a wide range of calls to maintain flock cohesion and signal danger. In captivity, their brain sees the chance to map human speech into meaningful interaction. This is a leap forward in our ranking. Where bees dance and meerkats warn, parrots name and describe. Where prairie dogs paint the world in sound, parrots experiment with labels and categories. It edges into symbolic thought, using one sound to consistently represent one idea. The African gray parrot shows us the doorway between communication and language. The line blurs. When a parrot coins a new sound, it's inventing, proving that the ability to label the world is not uniquely human. Placed above humpback whales, the parrot demonstrates that complexity isn't always in vast songs across oceans. Sometimes it is in a single word, spoken by a bird who knows exactly what it means. Top 3. Dolphins, the whistles of identity. Out in the open ocean, pods of bottlenose dolphins glide beneath the waves. Suddenly, a sharp whistle cuts through the water. Another answers. To the untrained ear, it is random noise. But to dolphins, it is identity. Each dolphin carries a signature whistle, a unique sound that functions like a personal name. Calves develop their whistle early in life, often inspired by their mother's tone, but shaped into something distinct. Other dolphins recognize it, remember it, and call it back even after years apart. When one dolphin whistles another's name, it is not mimicry. It is direct address. I am calling you. The implications are enormous. It means dolphins grasp the concept of individuality, of symbols that stand for a single being. Beyond names, dolphins use whistles and clicks to coordinate hunts, pass information about food, and maintain tight-knit social bonds. Some studies even suggest they combine sounds in ways that resemble syntax, hinting at a proto-grammar hidden in the waves. Placed above parrots in our ranking, dolphins show communication with reference and memory. They are not simply labeling objects, they are labeling each other. And in that act, they step closer to what we call language, a shared system that can point to the self, the other, and the world beyond. The lesson is clear. Language begins when we give each other names. Dolphins remind us that identity is not just human, it is universal, carried on a whistle through the endless sea. Top 2. Sperm whales, dialects of the deep. In the vast darkness of the deep ocean, sperm whales keep their families together with sound. But unlike humpbacks, their calls are not melodic songs. Instead, they use codas, precise sequences of clicks that carry identity, belonging, and social order. Each clan of sperm whales has its own set of codas, like a dialect. Members of one clan recognize their own instantly, but may not respond to outsiders. These codas are learned, not instinctual, passed down through generations like human traditions. In fact, researchers describe them as vocal cultures, a sign of collective memory maintained and adapted over decades. A coda might say, "This is us." Another might be a greeting, a signal to regroup, or a declaration of dominance. More than communication, codas define social boundaries. A whale that speaks your dialect belongs. One that doesn't is an outsider. This is what elevates sperm whales in our ranking. Language here is not just information, it is identity, culture, and exclusion. It is communication as a marker of community, a way to build worlds that last beyond any single individual. Placed above dolphins, sperm whales reveal that language can grow into tradition. It binds, divides, and shapes entire societies beneath the waves. In their codas, we see the origins of something deeply human. The idea that language is not just what we say, but who we are. Top 1. Chimpanzees, the vocabulary of the wild. Deep in the forests of Africa, a chimpanzee spots ripe fruit. She lets out a specific call, one her group instantly recognizes. Another gestures with an extended hand, an invitation to share. A third gives a sharp pant hoot, rallying allies. To an outsider, it seems chaotic. To the chimps, it is a language built from dozens of distinct signals. Research has cataloged more than 60 gestures and 30 vocalizations used consistently across groups. Some are universal, like the begging gesture of an open hand, while others vary by community, showing the beginnings of cultural difference. Together, these signals form a vocabulary, flexible enough to combine in different contexts. What makes chimpanzee communication remarkable is not just the variety, but the intentionality. Chimps adjust their calls depending on audience, repeating gestures until the message is understood. This persistence mirrors human conversation. Communication is not complete until comprehension happens. Placed at the top of our ranking, chimpanzees represent the bridge between animal and human language. They have reference, syntax, memory, and social nuance. While they may not build full sentences, their signals capture much of what language is meant to do: to request, to warn, to invite, to persuade. And here lies the insight. Language did not begin with humans. It was already taking shape in the wild, long before us. The chimpanzee's vocabulary is a living reminder that our words are not a sudden invention, but an inheritance, refined through millions of years of survival and connection. From the silent dance of honeybees to the layered gestures of chimpanzees, we've climbed a ladder of complexity, 10 species, 10 different ways of proving that communication is not just a human gift. Each step revealed something new: syntax in meerkats, descriptions in prairie dogs, deception in crows, resonance in elephants, music in humpbacks, names in dolphins, dialects in sperm whales, and a living vocabulary in chimpanzees. What does this ranking teach us? That language is not a switch, but a spectrum. It begins as data, grows into code, evolves into culture, and blossoms into meaning. Humans did not invent this path. We are simply its latest chapter. The insight is simple. To communicate is to survive, but also to belong. Every sound, every signal, every song is a reminder that we share this planet with minds that think, remember, and connect in ways both familiar and alien. So the next time you hear a crow caw or watch dolphins leap from the sea, pause and consider. You are listening to another kind of language, different from ours, but no less real. If you enjoyed this journey through the hidden voices of nature, make sure to subscribe to Animal Ranking Hub. Every week, we uncover new rankings, surprising facts, and the untold stories of the wild. Don't miss the next adventure. Hit that subscribe button now and join us in decoding the animal kingdom.